All right, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Utah Middle School Math Project 1.1F, which is creating and solving linear equations. But to get started, we have a quick poll that covers and reviews what we did in class last time. So pause the recording, get this warm-up started, and only continue the video when you have your answer and can check your work. All right, let's see how we did. I noticed that this is an expression which is set equal to another expression. And the expression on the left-hand side is not simplified, but the expression on the right-hand side, or I said that backwards. The expression on the left-hand side is just a number, so it's simplified. We don't need to do any work there. The expression on the right-hand side, we have to simplify before we can start solving. And whenever I'm trying to simplify, I always go through the order of operations. Do we have grouping symbols? Yeah, and these grouping symbols cannot be combined. X tiles and unit tiles, we can't do anything with that. So those grouping symbols must be there for another reason. No exponents in this problem, but there is multiplication. It's multiplication across these parentheses. So I do have three groups of 2x, which is 6x. And I have three groups of -5. Notice what I did as I did that. I had subtraction that I changed to adding a negative. So three groups of -5 is -15. Plus the 4x after I do that distribution. And now I have completed the multiplication and division part of the order of operations, so now I can move on to addition and subtraction, which means I'm ready to combine like terms. I have 6 x tiles here. I have 4 more x tiles here, so altogether I have 10 x tiles. And -15 unit tiles. All of that is equal to 55, and now I have simplified the expression that forms part of that equation, so now I can focus on the equation part. I can undo what's happening to x. I get rid of this -15 unit tiles by adding 15 positive unit tiles. Negatives and positives zero out. Balance it by doing the same thing to the other side. 55 plus 15 is equal to 70. So 70 is equal to 10x. And we divide each side by 10. So I have 7 equals x. Or if you prefer, you can rewrite that to be x equals 7. The few of you in class who did not get that right, did you find your mistakes? Okay. What we're going to be doing first, this is from our last lesson that we did not quite finish. This is 1.1e. We did this one with Theo and his training for a triathlon. It's this one that we had to skip, and I do want to cover this. I'm telling you now, you have a question like this on your upcoming quiz. I guess it's a test, your upcoming test. So you do need to know how to do a problem like this. Okay, so eyes on the screen, let's go over this one together. We have a riddle to solve, kind of like our number puzzles from a couple lessons ago. We have a riddle. We want to consider the numbers 3, 8, and 7. And we want to find a fourth number so that the average of all of those numbers, these three plus that one extra number, the average is 7. So we already have the equation sort of set up, but I really want to make sense of how this even works. So will you just discuss with your groups, how do we even find an average to begin with? How do we find an average if I have a set of numbers? How do I find that? Quick discussion with your groups. Okay, and now come back and share with the class. Raise your hand to share. How do we find an average? Thank you, Sam. Exactly. What he said is we add up all of the numbers that we had, and then we divide it by how many numbers there were that we added up together. So when we take a look at how this is kind of structured, we can see why it makes sense. Since we need to find the average of these three numbers and that fourth number, you can see 3 plus 8 plus 7 plus the fourth number that we don't know but we're trying to find. And when I add up those numbers, I now have 4 numbers, which is why I add them all up first, and then I divide it by 4. And we want, according to this riddle, we want that average to be 7. So when I find the average, it is equal to 7. So let's make sense of all of that. What is all of this up here? What does that mean? This is us adding up all the numbers. Even though we don't know what that fourth number is, we can use a variable to represent it and still show that we're adding up all 4 of the numbers. which means we added up 4 numbers. So to find the average, we need to divide by the number 4. And we want that average to be 7. This is the desired average, the one that we're shooting for. Now, students who, or even just people in general who tried doing a number puzzle like this, they would just guess and check. Is the number 1? Is the number 2? Is the number 9? Is the number whatever? And they would just guess and check until they got it there. But when we set up an equation, it makes it so much easier. Instead of guessing and checking and trying so many different strategies, you just have to solve the equation. So that is part B. Will you now, since we have this set up and we understand where each one of those pieces come from, will you work with your groups and solve that equation? Pausing the recording to get that done. As students were discussing, I heard the most amazing comment. Oh, this is just like what we've been doing, but different. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Let's talk about how it is exactly what we have been doing. How is it similar to all the other things we've been doing this whole lesson? Sam? Close. It's an expression equal to an expression, making it an equation. So is this side, is that simplified? Yeah. Is this side simplified? No, then simplify it. How is it different than the other ones that we've done so far? Well, yes, so we're still simplifying. That's how it's exactly like we've done before. How is it different than the ones that we have done up until now? Danielle? Yeah. Yeah, we're dividing in this one. We haven't had one where part of that unsimplified expression has division. We have, however, solved equations where there's division. So that part is not new. It's just we haven't simplified an expression that has that division. So the answer is x equals 10. Who got that? Okay, good. Let's talk about how we got there. Since this is an unsimplified version, we need to simplify this first. And I see like terms that can be combined, as well as something that cannot be combined. But if I combine these like terms, 3 plus 8 plus 7, I get 18. And 18 plus x is all divided by 4, and that is equal to 7. This is a simplified equation. Excuse me, yeah, a simplified expression that is part of an equation. So what are the solving steps? Let's first figure out what's happening to x. X is being added by 18 first, then we divide by 4. So I need to undo those things. If this is my sock that I put on first, this is my shoe that I put on second, I have to take off that shoe. So I'm multiplying by 4. When I multiply by 4, it will undo that dividing by 4. And I'm left with 18 plus x is equal to 28. Now it's time to take off that sock. We undo adding 18 by subtracting 18. And I get x is equal to 10. Yes, there's a comment. Now that we have completed that problem, let's return to that homework section. I did assign problems 1 and 2. Problems 3 through 8, I let you skip 2. I'm still going to let you skip 2. 9 and 10 you had to do, and I said skip 11. I now want you to do 11. And I want you to do it right now. I want you to do it right now with your groups. And I want you to see just how similar it is to that last problem. Hold on, I'm still giving directions. If at any point you get stuck, refer back to what we just did when we were trying to find an average. Let's read through the problem first to make sense of it. Mia has taken 2 quizzes in math so far this quarter and has scored a 75% on the first and an 82% on the second. What must she score on the third quiz in order to have an average of 80% on her 3 quizzes? Do you see how very similar that is to that last one? Should be in that same structure, that same format. She's about to take a third quiz. She needs to know what she needs to average, or what her score needs to be so that she can have an average of 80%. Work with your groups on that one. We're going to pause the recording. Ready, set, go. Okay, did you get that the third quiz score has to be an 87%? Good, you shouldn't have. Did you get that the quiz score has to be an 83%? Okay. Good job. If you got that it was supposed to be an 83%, then you did it correctly. Key thing though, folks, please listen up. When you have a problem like this on your quiz or test or whatever it ends up being, Please understand that just stating the quiz score isn't going to be enough. You need to be able to set up an equation just like we did here. So, any questions on how we would set up that equation? No? We're good? No one's complaining, so I think we're good. I'm going to go with the one yes that I had. Okay, and now we are finally ready for 1.1f, where we are creating and then solving linear equations. Up until now, we've had these types of stories, but they've been really, really baby stepped for us. We've been able to have most of the work already done, and we just kind of interpret or do a little bit. But with this lesson, we're going to really have to do all of the writing. So it says, use a story below about Chloe and her friends to answer the questions that follow. Let's read the story. Chloe and her friends are going on a picnic. A sandwich is 6 times the cost of a cookie. A bag of chips is 1.5 times the cost of a cookie, and a soda is twice the cost of a cookie. What we need to do first, and this is the key to being successful on these types of problems, is write expressions for the cost of each item before you try and write expressions or an equation that tie everything together. Baby step it. Just write expressions. So we've got these little blanks. Let's fill in the blanks. We're going to write an expression for the cost of each item. Let's read it again. Already we have the cost of a cookie is X. So let's now reread knowing that the cost of a cookie is X. A sandwich is 6 times the cost of a cookie. What are we going to write there for a sandwich? 6 times the cost of a cookie. Hayden. 6x. That's showing 6 times the cost of a cookie, which is X. Next, a bag of chips is 1.5 times the cost of a cookie. So again, cookie is X, bag of chips, Maverick, 1.5x, which I'm going to write as 1.5x. Rather than the mixed number, I'm going to write the decimal. And last, a soda is twice the cost of a cookie. Again, cookie is X, so the cost of a soda is, I want to see lots of hands now. You had your classmates to help you on all the other ones so far. Dean, 2x. Again, this is the key to success. Before you try and write an equation matching everything together, break it down. What are each one of these single items? So now, let's read the next part. We now know how all of those costs are related, but Chloe and her friends buy 2 sandwiches. Think about how much they're spending if they buy 2 sandwiches. They buy 3 bags of chips. Think about that. 4 cookies and 2 sodas. And they spend a total of $12.25. It's a lot of food for just $12.25. Use this information and the expressions that we wrote above to write an equation representing the situation. I want you to just give it a try on your own. We'll go over it in a second, but I'm going to pause the recording. You guys give it a try on your own first. How can we write an equation that combines all of that information? Ready, set, go. All right. Chloe and her friends buy 2 sandwiches. How am I going to show that? How am I going to show that they're buying 2 sandwiches and what that cost is going to be? Brock. Yep, that tells me 2 groups of 6x. 2 sandwiches, each sandwich being 6x. Good. And then the 3 bags of chips. How am I going to show that? 3 bags of chips. Porter. Yes, 3 in parentheses 1.5x because we're buying 3 bags of chips and the 1.5x represents the cost of a bag of chips. You guys get the idea now, right? 4 cookies, that's going to be 4x. Could you put the x in parentheses like we've done the others? Yeah, is it necessary? No. 4x. And 2 sodas. How am I going to show that one? 2 sodas, Kaden. Yep, 2 parentheses 2x, 2 groups of 2x. And when I spend all of this money buying all of these things, I have spent a total of $12.25. That's our equation. And I really like how this equation perfectly matches the cost and how many, right? It doesn't simplify yet. That's the next step, is we're going to simplify as part of our solving process. And if I have 2 groups of 6x, that's going to be 12x. If I have 3 groups of 1.5x, that's going to be 4.5x. Plus 4 more x, plus 2 groups of 2x is going to be 4 more x. All of that equals 12.25. We're almost done simplifying. I at least got rid of those parentheses, and now I've just got a bunch of like terms to combine. 12x tiles, 4.5x tiles, 4 more x tiles, and 4 more x tiles. All together, that leaves us with, I did it in my head, 24.5x. Is that what you guys got? Okay. And 24.5x is equal to 12.25. If I want to know what that x is, I need to divide each side by 24.5. And when you do that, what is x equal to? I'm going to come over here just for space. Fits. Yes, 0.5. So interpret that. What does that mean? X is equal to 0.5 and x is the cost of a cookie. So what does that 0.5 actually mean? Siley? 50 cents, exactly. So now we can fill in these blanks. What is the cost? Let's start here. What is the cost of a cookie? 50 cents. What is the cost of a sandwich? Remember, a sandwich is 6 times the cost of a cookie. So we get $3. And a bag of chips. A bag of chips is 1.5 times the cost of a cookie. So 1.5 times 0.5, we get, Hayden? Yes, 75 cents. Not $7.50. And the cost of a soda, the cost of a soda is 2 times the cost of a cookie. Brock, $1. And that's it. Okay, I really like this one, and I am going to assign this as kind of a fun sort of a homework problem. If you can answer this question, I will give you some money. Because this is Uncle Hank. Uncle Hank loves riddles. Uncle Hank tells his nephews, I have twice as many dimes as quarters. I have 12 more nickels than quarters. I have $4.60 total. Whoever can solve my riddle will get my coins. Owen wrote an equation to solve the riddle. I want you to fill in the blanks. What do those blank spaces mean? How many of each type of coin does Uncle Hank have? If you can answer that question, I will give you a coin. I'm not giving you the $4.60 that Uncle Hank has. I'm not Uncle Hank. I am Mrs. Proctor. I am not Uncle Hank. So I'm not giving you the $4.60, but I will give you a coin. Maybe a quarter. Probably will be more than a penny. All right? Okay. Give that a try. That's it for this video. We'll continue this lesson on another one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.